Dirk and Dirk and Murph and Dirk Dirk.
Hey.
I love that.
Oh, you gotta love that new intro. How's everybody doing tonight? So happy to be in here with a few people that we are going to one person's new on the show and the other person's made their return to our show, which is a long time coming. It's great to have them back on. So let's welcome our guests, Aardvark. How you doing,
Hello
Aardvark?
there.
Thanks for coming.
Hi.
And Kimosabe.
G'day everyone, I'm Mcclane, the member of the Blame from the Land Down Under. Thanks for having me back on, boys. It has been far too long. Life has been hectic, but I'm so glad to have returned to basically my third YouTube home, I like to think of it as. I've got my own channel, Comics Mates where I hang my hat with Dean, but this is like a third home to me. This is like the home away from home. You boys have always been so welcoming, and we've had some fantastic conversations about different characters, and you guys do a great service to the community by shilling books. Like, not everybody's doing that anymore. The number of shows that are doing that are less and less. It's still a really important way to get word out about really great products like this product that we're here to talk about today.
Yeah,
man.
Well, thanks for letting. Thanks. Third's nice, but a wise man once said, "If you're not first, you're last." So
one I heard was second place is the first loser.
Yeah,
is the way I heard the phrase. That's a bit rough, isn't it?
Right. Hey, Crazy Mad, thanks for coming on the show. Who else we got today?
24 Eyes here.
Yeah, is 24 Eyes? Yes, he is. Casey, my wife's here. 24 Eyes is here. And that's what we got for right now. I think we're going to have some slim pickings tonight. Roach Balls launches in about, half an hour?
Oh, yeah.
And so I think we're going to have some competition on our show, which is kind of a different time for them to launch, but it is what it is.
It's a free market.
Hopefully Roach Balls does very well, though. I'm excited.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope so too. Like I said in the back room, rising tide lifts all ships, right? So
exactly what I was going to say.
Man. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And it's not a zero-sum game. When you see someone else succeed, you don't go, "Oh, that's money that could have gone to me." You don't know that.
I think it's fantastic.
On that sort of thing. It's like Bancroft saying, "Nobody says I deserve." Nobody deserves anything in this game. You earn it, and that's what we're all doing here. We're grinding, we're earning it. It's the perspective you've got to have going into it, I think. And the people who have that perspective tend to succeed.
Yeah, and you know what?
I wish
Go ahead, Kevin.
I was just going to say, I wish I could earn things with not doing the work. Like, if I could figure that out, that would be the goal.
Passively.
Of course, that's your response. Of course.
It's called investing.
Investing.
Are those called trust fund?
Yeah,
no doubt. Independently wealthy.
Rich parents.
Okay, so let's get to the question of the week real quick. Crazy Mad says, would you rather everyone be taller than you or stronger than you? Good question.
Stronger.
I feel stronger because you don't see it. Like,
and in this society, it's not like we're going around doing, the old mallet strength test at the carnival. No, it's not like that's at every corner. You've got to do that to prove you can get into Woolworths and pick up your bacon and eggs in the morning. That's probably not such a big deal.
Right.
Yeah, I would
don't
go
know.
with, because you can be built and not be strong.
Yeah,
that's true. You can.
That's true. Yeah, to me, I think there'd be advantage of everybody being stronger because, like, at work, like if someone's like, "Hey, we need help lifting this or move this," and I can easily be like, "Hey, I'm the weakest person. Go ahead."
Does
you know what I mean? Like,
does everybody know it though? Like if literally you're literally everybody in the world's weak, 8 billion people, even kids. So does that mean a kid immediately gets like whatever I can bench? My 5-year-old can now bench more than me, or my strength goes so far down, I'm weaker than a newborn baby. Because the height thing, if you're a heightlet, if you're a manlet, like that's seen everywhere you go, and every single person in the world is taller than you. You shrink down to be smaller than a newborn baby. When my son was born, he was the size of a can of Coke. So am I smaller than that because there's can of Coke babies out there? Definitely the strength one. Definitely everybody can be stronger than me. I don't want to be some 3-inch high.
Now that you put that out there, I have to agree with you.
but the same height. So everybody's taller than you. So would you be shorter than a baby?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you'd be like a borrower if you ever read those.
Yeah. Or you'd be as strong as everybody. So hey,
this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking how either could benefit me. So if everyone else is stronger, I feel like I would never have to physically do stuff. because people would want to do it since I'm like the weakest. But if I'm the shortest, does that mean like I could ride a dog all the time instead of like a horse?
You have like a proper custom saddle. Fine? Yeah, man.
I might do the shorter thing just to like ride animals everywhere.
Yeah, I'm good with the shorter. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Crazy Man said the correct is stronger. I'd rather be like, hey, can you reach this? Than, hey, can you open this jar?
It's a tough one. It's a monkey's paw. You'd hope you don't have to pick either of them, honestly. Neither of them are great options.
I agree with that too. Okay.
I just feel like you'd have more benefits by being shorter because everyone would know it. Like people wouldn't innately know that you're the weakest physically. And then again, going to the baby thing, does that mean I'm weaker than a baby? Can I not even pick up like a glass of water?
Or is every baby now pumped up to beyond whatever your strength is? If you can bench 100 pounds, now all babies can bench 101, and you're technically the weakest person on the planet.
Everyone can be in the NFL then? Like there's grandmas on the offensive line of the Cowboys.
I think it might be worth it just to see that. It might be worth taking that L just for the dub that the world would get seeing Granny in the NFL.
Did you ever see that screen cap somebody took once? And I think it was like somebody on Twitter or whatever. And he ordered a utensil to help him open his bottles of Soylent Green or whatever it's called. And he bought this utensil, and the guy looked like a stick figure. And he said, "I'm so glad I don't have to ask my coworkers anymore to help me open my Soylent."
If it's not a troll, the levels of lack of self-awareness involved there are many and varied. It's like Arctic ice layers right down, and then deep down, hidden millions of years ago, crashed from distant planets. Is his lack of self-awareness.
I think it's funnier that we are working this hard on his question, and he probably took him 2 seconds to come up with this idea. So
I think Crazy Man's idea in the first place goes back to the opening the jar. That's what he thought of before the question.
Yeah, I think you're right. You found the root. You found the root, man.
Yeah. The only thing though, too, I just thought of being shorter than everyone. It would suck, like if you're at a concert, or you know what I mean. Like if you're at a movie theater, if you're the size of a baby,
well,
you ain't seeing that.
No, you can sit on the
you
shoulders.
can crawl up on the side of the walls like a gecko.
Just pick you up.
That's what I'm saying. You can sit up on shoulders again. Yeah, remember how awesome that used to be?
Oh, but good luck getting a date when you're 7 inches high.
Well, the world's. I'm gonna check this out. How short is the world's tallest man?
Oh, man.
How short? How tall is the world's shortest man?
World's shortest man. Hold on.
Oh.
So we're asking the hard questions here. We're not
man. We don't have time to look this up.
No, there's definitely like a little
like 3 feet.
All right,
it's gotta be like 3 feet, right?
That was like.
So apparently, the shortest person in history was 54.6 centimeters, which is 21.5 inches.
Yeah, that's mental.
He was from Nepal.
So a little bit under 2 feet.
What?
2
That's
feet,
24 inches. Yeah, but I thought you said 50 inches.
21 inches.
You said 21.
Oh, 21 inches.
So a little under 2 feet, like I said.
No, it's under 2 feet.
Yeah, a little under 2 feet, not a lot. 3 inches under 2 feet.
Websites. Now he's revealing how he gets the questions. Okay. It was better when he didn't know.
Yeah, I thought it was he just.
You need to do the mystery box thing, Crazy Mad. Don't let us in on the secrets. Don't tell us before.
That's right. The man behind the curtain.
So as a group, did we decide? Do we want to be weakest or shortest?
Weakest.
Weakest.
Yeah. Yeah, I rode the fence for a minute, but I would say that. You don't need to reach when you can shake the object.
Except when you buy a new TV and you're trying to bring it up your first floor stairs into your apartment.
But if you're small as a baby, you're not going to be able to do it anyway. Even with regular human strength, it's too unwieldy.
Right.
Like the mass, the gravity right over that end is going to tip you because you're so little. Because you weigh nothing, even if you've got human strength. You got to pick it up, and you're doing you're seeing that that really ripped dude, and he holds onto poles, and he like levitates his whole body because he's got intense core strength. He holds his whole body weight up. You'd be doing that. You'd be so strong. You could lift your own body weight up on the corner of the TV, but couldn't actually budge the TV because it's so much heavier than you.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, they have people come around and install it for you anyway.
I'm just thinking you misses. You're walking down the street and you're this, tiny little 8-inch high mans, and it's like she can be laughed at. It's like that's the only thing about you that's 8 inches. It's like it's not a good look. I'd feel bad. You'd probably leave me.
Yeah, I think you'd have more.
If I'm that small, can I do like Yoda flips and stuff like that? Like that'd be awesome.
Well, with regular strength, you probably could. Yeah, you'd probably be. Yeah. You'd be like a little Ant-Man. You'd be jumping around on backflips and handsprings and stuff. Some of that Marky Mark action from.
Oh my God!
It's that one where he plays a hitman. He's doing gymnastics. Lou Diamond Phillips.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Big hit. Love that movie. Fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, Murph is a classic study
candidate. Because I want to get to the heart of the matters. You know what I mean? These are life decisions. These aren't easy.
Yeah, even if it doesn't mean it's real, you still got to get to the heart of it, no matter what.
Well, because I'm getting to the heart of my own psychology.
It's good broad thinking. It's good for storytelling, building narratives.
I gave up on that a long time ago.
People who don't think about this sort of stuff when it's brought up, and they're like, "Oh, whatever, I'm going to go watch football." Right. So, I mean, there's a very you got to broaden, see your way around, even if it's something that you don't enjoy. I remember being a kid at school, and the teacher say you got to write about this. One time it was like you got to write about weddings. I'm like, oh man, weddings are boring. I'm 14. I want to write about ninjas and backflips and cyborgs and big titties. Like I don't be writing about weddings. So I made like a hitman wedding. He's bursting out of the cake and he just Uzi guns down the mafia mob boss that's getting married. Just cuts him in half with an Uzi. It's fantastic. Teacher was not impressed. Not that I'm trying to be rebellious or anything. I'm just saying, like, you get given something you don't particularly interested in. You're trying to find a way to make it work. You're trying to find a way to work within that. We get given this question, and we're finding all the different ways that it can work. I think it speaks to the fact that we're all narrativists, we're all storytellers, and we're all broad thinkers. We think around a subject instead of just trying to brute force our way through. I know that.
Being that small, too, you know how much money you'd save on groceries and clothes?
That's true.
You know what I mean?
True. Yeah. You just need a little bowl. And you never run out of your favorite food. You sit down, you go to eat a pizza, and you eat the whole pizza. And you're like, man, I wish I had more pizza. One slice would do it. You get yourself a double pepperoni. That one double pepperoni is like you're sorted, man. You couldn't eat a whole slice of pepperoni.
You'd have a lot of
cheesy
food.
crust.
I don't think you could eat it all. You wouldn't get through it. You know what I mean?
I mean, you'd be entirely dependent on other people helping to take care of you. So,
yeah.
The smallest, weakest man. I could write it, but I don't want to write it. But the fact that I know that I could, and I know that I could make it compelling, and I know that I'd rather work on something I've already got half done, or something. Like I said, I'm always getting new ideas, more ideas, and I got years left in my life. I got one I want to write about like a club of serial killers. It's gonna be a novel. It's like a club of serial killers called Murder Club, and they all come together to trade tips and everything. And it's about the police that are trying to track them down and break the ring of. It's like you imagine like 12 Dexters all working together in different parts of America, and they come and meet up, and they're communicating over the dark web and everything, and then the cops are trying to break this ring of serial killers. And I think that's got serious potential. I think each episode's going to be each book in the series is going to be like another serial killer they're trying to bring down, and the ring's getting smaller and smaller and all turning on each other, and it's who's going to be the last one and who started the ring in the first place. It's going to be like this whole thing about the dude that started it. Well, this is me being humble, Brian. If I was flexing big, I'd just stand up and unzip. I mean, I wouldn't even trip, dog. Anyway, we're here to talk about me.
Oh man. Okay, yeah, we're here to talk to Aardvark about Aquila. I think I'm going to say that right. I'm going to say Aquila.
I'm still calling it Aquila because that's how I've been calling it for many years. Because Aardvark and I have known each other for what did we decide, mate? 5-6 years.
2016, 2017, I think. So
yeah. So we both responded to. It was a 4chan thread, I think, and somebody's like, we miss classic, fun superheroes, colorful superheroes, not quite Silver Age, but wholesome superheroes. Sort of his superheroes that don't, that if the bad guy's hanging off the cliff, they grab their hand and pull them up. Remember Batman used to do that? Batman used to gut himself to save his worst enemies. They're falling off a cliff. He'd dive. He'd do like a big baseball slide to save their life. And at the same time, he's holding their arm saying, hold on to me, don't let go. They'll pull a knife and try and stab him or something, and then they fall to their death. It's like, man, he was willing to risk being stabbed, shot at, whatever, to save the life of some guy that spent 4 issues trying to kill him. Like, that's a hero. He didn't hit from behind, that sort of thing. So we said how much we missed those sort of characters. And someone said, well, why don't we all get together and see if we can't do something about it? Let's make something. We've got all these ideas. So someone started a Discord, and, Aardvark, jump in any time that I'm getting a fact wrong, because my memory's spotty at best. I tend to rewrite all sorts of stuff with myself as the hero of the.
No, so far you're right.
And the 5 rules of the Karate Dojo. Oh, Brian, you card. And everybody had these ideas, and we're talking about doing like some sort of anthology. Everybody has like a 6-page story, and I come up with a half a dozen new characters from this group think, and I really like the 6-page story format. It's really tricky to try and fit 6 pages that's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I go back to my old short story writing days when I wrote a lot of short fiction. The idea is, so there's a Stephen King story about this bloke who has half a treasure map, and he wants the other half of the treasure map. That's the whole story. It starts off with him sitting outside an apartment in his car with a gun with the half the treasure map, kicks the door in, goes to find the other half of the treasure map this guy he knows has hidden. It doesn't tell you about, he doesn't say he woke up in the morning, had a bowl of Cheerios, and he got on the, like, it starts in the action. It starts in the good bit, right in the guts of it. And I realized that very early on. To tell a good story, you don't need to start from the beginning of the day and end at the end of the day. You pick up where it matters, And so I was doing these 6-page stories and absolutely loving this sort of format where you've just got to just start right in the middle of the action. The whole thing fell apart eventually, unfortunately. Just, too many cooks. People say they talk big, but they're not willing to commit. Like, I must have put up about half a dozen to a dozen scripts, people having a look at it saying, yeah, this is good, I like this, I like that. But I didn't see a lot from a lot of other people. It was just a lot of pie in the sky. Oh, if we do this, if we do that. There was a guy who's really seriously trying to get the stories together and put together an anthology, maybe crowdfunded or whatever. Didn't happen. But from that, Aardvark hit me up later and said, hey, I like the sort of stuff you're doing. Do you want to jump over to a different Discord? We can't see if we can't make something a bit more significant happen. He pulled together maybe it's a half a dozen of us all together to form this little sort of writing collective. We just bounce ideas off each other. We give each other feedback. You turn up and say, boys, I've got this idea, but it's only half baked. Can you help me sort of refine it? And you just brainstorm some stuff. You give each other ideas. You say, that's cool, but have you thought about that? And take it another direction. And over the course of the next, 4 or 5 years, there's a bunch of scripts, bunch of characters. We're looking at doing a shared universe at one time. But same sort of thing, like the level of commitment from some people wasn't always matched by the level of commitment from others, which that's life. There's another dude in the collective, and he's been working on a comic fairly solidly for a while. I think it's going to be launched soon on crowdfunding. So it's another dude that's, I've got my book out. Aardvark's having his book come out. So stuff came out of it. It was a great environment, very small. Yeah, just half a dozen of us. And everybody had a different perspective. Aardvark's a real classic storyteller. Like I said to him the other day, you're the best Silver Age writer that didn't live in the Silver Age. Like he's just so good at that sort of, and I mean Silver Age in the best possible way. Like I love those Silver Age stories. Yeah, man. Yep. Yes, it's the best stuff. Really, it is. Or even early Bronze Age, where they still had that. 1986 Man of Steel, John Byrne, that sort of stuff. Early Batman stuff when he was transitioning from Denny O'Neil. Late 70s, fighting Sensei, Bronze Tiger, Lady Shiva. They were all bad guys, but he still had that core of goodness before Jason Todd died. That gap between, Silver Age Jason Todd, when he was also a circus performer, through to the beginning of modern Jason Todd. Like that sort of run there is, to me, the 1986 Man of Steel version of Batman. That sort of era, I think that's the sort of stuff that Aardvark's making, if I can frame it that way, in my own opinion. I think it's really solid stuff. I really enjoy it. And
Chemo, did you see the new Spider-Man talking about always doing the good thing and saving bad guys?
No, I haven't seen the new one yet.
Oh, you'll love the new Spider-Man movie. You should watch it.
That's what I'm all about, man. And the funny thing is,
that's the whole story arc.
Yeah,
is he has to decide if the bad guys are worth saving.
Yeah, I've got a hold of a filmed copy from inside the cinema. I mean, a completely legal copy, and I'll have to watch that at some point. I will have to give that a go. Marv Wolfman, Chris Claremont, it had character development, it had ongoing storylines, but each issue was also its own thing. And the good guys were good guys, the bad guys were bad guys. It was very clearly defined. There wasn't the sort of shades of grey that we're getting these days. I think we're all getting a bit sick of, to be honest, the legacy of Alan Moore.
I'm totally sick of it, man.
That's definitely one of my biggest kind of drivers. I've said this a few other times, but every time you pick up a comic now, everything is somehow connected to some great universal threat. But there's some great, like Batman used to be a rich guy who had a lot of cool gadgets and a cool suit. And now, according to the DC universe, he is the incarnation of a bat god from the parallel dark universe or something. And I just my stories they're gonna have like great universal threats, but for the meantime, that's not going to be every story. And this story is very grounded. For Aquila issue 1, it is fundamentally a cops and robbers
awesome
a cops and robbers story, but it's just set to the backdrop of a retro science fiction comic. And it's about a guy who is selling counterfeit, dangerous materials to unsuspecting people, and that's all it's about. It's not like the universe is going to end if this guy isn't caught, but that doesn't mean the stakes aren't high. That doesn't mean that it's not an important story. That doesn't mean that it's not fun. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be action. And I think it's really kind of, I don't want to say immature because that's not the right word, but I think it's really kind of.
Well, would it be safe to call
something wrong with saying?
No, I mean my book is all ages. What I'm trying to get at is that the idea of everything needs to be a multiversal apocalypse. That idea is kind of like power scaling. It's always like.
I think it's nice when a story is simple and focused. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's okay if it's focused on a character or a small little pocket area. It doesn't have to be like what you're talking about, global or universal. The hero thing. I was just watching The Last Kingdom. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that on Netflix.
I've seen the first.
And the last season just came out. It literally is my favorite show right now, and it's because they're doing exactly that. It ends on such a good note for me because they stay true to his character and they make him a real hero. He is a real hero. There's no black and white. Like he goes between sides of people, but he is who he is, and he bridges these gaps, and he's able to actually remain who he is in the end. And I was tearing up through several pieces of the story because I'm just like, it's hitting me in so many different ways of how powerful just a simple great hero really can be. And it's everything I love about comics. Yeah, that too. But
there's a funny thing about that show. When they do
it's emotional, man.
Yeah. What I like about that show is when they go to a new place and they have the old English name of the place, and then it transforms into the modern thing. And there's an episode in the 3rd season, I think, when they're trying to find some guy, and they say, "Where does he live?" He says, "Some shithole up in the north." And then it literally, the next scene, it transitioned into the town I was living in at the time.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean,
I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, which is Scranton, and there's tons of movies that make fun of the city of Scranton all the time.
I've heard of Scranton. Why have I heard of that place?
Because people make fun of it, and then The Office was. But before that, there's a ton of movies that make fun of the city, like Home Alone. They talk about she's trying to fly back home. They're like, "Oh, there's a thing through Scranton," and she's like, "Oh,
a lot of low intelligence comes out of that place." Joe Biden, Kevin Murphy. all
keep crying.
Anyway.
Keep crying over your soap operas, little girl.
Oh, you guys.
Oh man. Anyway, no, I just
came out of there.
I'm excited to hear more about your story, man, because I want to hear simplistic stories about a hero and not be, over focused on something beyond. I think that's a great thing. So, do you have anything to share?
I shared the link in the private chat.
I do have the sign up page. Is that what you want me to share?
Yeah, because everything's on there. Yeah.
All right. So let's go there. Let's just get that up so people can see at least some of the artwork.
Where do you think Dojo was born? Detroit?
Chicago.
Chicago, really? Detroit. I don't know. I don't know.
Detroit.
Oh, it was Detroit. Yeah, it was.
That is awesome.
So yeah.
I thought it was going to be something from I thought it would have been like his father was stationed in Japan or something, and it would have been like Tokyo or like I don't know. I thought it was going to be outside the box.
Brian, have you seen that bit in A Fistful of Yen where they send the dude to Detroit? It's a Kentucky Fried movie. There's a parody of Enter the Dragon. It's called A Fistful of Yen. And the bad guy gets this guy and they say, we're going to have the worst torture ever possible for you because you're a spy and you're a traitor. It's like, do whatever you can to me, you. And he says some like really racist Asian type stuff to a yellow slant-eyed butt, that sort of thing, because it's back in the 70s. He's like, take him to Detroit. And the dude just no, not Detroit, please. I'll do anything. Not Detroit. They just drag this dude off to Detroit. He's just screaming and screaming for like the next 5 minutes. That was my introduction to Detroit as a kid. Yeah.
That's funny.
SNL has a skit about Cleveland, and their whole thing is Cleveland. They advertise Cleveland, Ohio. At least we're not Detroit.
Look, Detroit can't be all bad. Brian, come out of there.
While we're on the subject of crime, crime-ridden locations. So in the Aquila universe, our solar system is a den of crime, and it is because it is so. There's not really much here. So the galactic government doesn't pay any attention to it, which makes it the perfect hiding place for pirates, crooks, thieves. Okay. And so Aquila's got his job cut out for him. He's the only Phoenix Guard in the solar system. In the galaxy, every solar system has one Phoenix Guard. And our Phoenix Guard is Aquila. And he's just got his work cut out for him. He's from Earth. So he's not familiar with a lot of the alien stuff. He's out of his depth in a lot of things.
Sorry, Aardvark, just correct me if I'm wrong. Is he the first human member of the Phoenix Guard?
Yes, the first and only human who's ever done the job.
And what I like about the idea of our solar system being such a den of hive of what's that quote? Scum and villainy.
Wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah, is that as far as I know, us on our world, Earth, we don't know it. Like, is all this stuff's happening, but Earth doesn't know about it. We're completely oblivious to it. Like, at the time of this, I don't believe it's common knowledge that there are aliens in the solar system, aliens in the wider galaxy. So it's something that can be explored later on. This was going to say is you can do, instead of calling them a simple story, I'll call them uncomplicated or direct stories. Yeah. You can do that while still building a bigger lore. I'll say that's one of Aardvark's biggest strengths is being able to add a little bit extra to every story to slowly build a bigger story, something that you can become invested in, something that you can become committed to. So while it's a simple story of a hijacking gone wrong, it starts setting the scene for this bigger world, this bigger universe. And I think talking back to Wolfman and Perez and those guys, Claremont, they did that sort of thing. They'd start with an episode of the X-Men fighting Magneto at a carnival. And you're like, what? What is? I picked up a trade a while ago. It had like Dave Cockrum art. It's black and white, one of those essentials. And the X-Men are fighting the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants at a carnival somewhere. They're throwing tents and what do you call like the horses on the merry-go-round type things? And I'm like, what is this? But it's carousels, but it's adding to this bigger lore, this bigger thing that would eventually become the Claremont X-Men, which is held up as this, the ultimate, the high point of the X-Men. Run history. So you can definitely do direct stories and work towards something bigger and more complex without betraying again, not an immature sort of storytelling, but uncomplicated one.
Right. And it reminds me of the Green Lantern, in space he's the only human that becomes a part of this for a while, you know what I mean? At least
now it
whenever he
seems there's
first
more
becomes
human
it.
Green Lanterns than aliens.
Yeah, now there is. But
Yes,
back in the old
unfortunately.
days, that's not the
Yeah,
way
it
it
was a big
started
deal.
out. You know what I mean?
No.
It was cool when it first started.
Well,
And if they'd planned that, that's something that they could have had as a plot point. The idea is like, well, man, 30 years ago we didn't have a single. We had Alan Scott, and he was an accident. Then we had Hal Jordan, and now we're just wall to wall humans. What is up with humans that makes them so adept at being Green Lanterns? Why are they so good at the job? Why does the ring keep picking human after human after human? It's not just because it's the only inhabited planet in the solar system. There's got to be a reason why, and you could push into that.
Don't give them ideas for free, Chemo.
Yes, no doubt, man. You're gonna make DC all start to float again.
Yeah. But the other thing
because
is
none of the other lanterns want Earthlings because we suck. The red ring and the yellow ring, they're not coming this way. So we're you know what I mean? The least cool one, the green one, is all we get to. You know?
I'd phrase it the other way around. I'd say the red rings are afraid to come to us because our rage is so deep.
Man,
like it's like the ring's like, look, the red ring goes, look, I'm not coming to get a human because if I do, that could be the end of everything. Imagine a human with the unfettered power of a red power ring. You destroy a universe, then I as a ring, a sentient ring, I don't exist anymore. Like a self-destructive. We don't go after humans because they're so mental. And for that reason, maybe that's why they're so good at being Green Lanterns, because of if you take any human emotion to the extreme, willpower, you get unbreakable.
Well,
you take rage.
There's a big difference between Aquila and the Green Lantern. It's that the Green Lantern he's not really a cop. He's more of a space defender, and he goes out and deals with. Aquila literally arrests people and sends them to prison. He has a cop car. Cop spaceship. He has handcuffs. He does all that kind of stuff. They're very much a police force.
Just so you know, I wasn't trying to make it sound like he was Green Lantern. I was just
I know.
being
I'm
the
just
only human.
Because these parallels always do come up. So
sure.
Aardvark, don't let Derek off the hook. Attack him.
Hey, man. Hey.
Look at I love the idea of him writing like speeding tickets.
He does.
He's writing speeding tickets. Do you realize how fast you were going? And he's like, mate, there's nobody else out here. He goes, the law's the law, and the sort of thing like. If a cop sees a crime and doesn't act on it, they can get into trouble. Like he's got a certain obligation to uphold certain rules. And knowing that he's the only human that's part of the Phoenix Guard, he's going to have to want to work even harder to sort of prove that he belongs there. So you've got a lot of motivation for the character to actually put 110% in. And because his area is this wretched hive of scum and villainy, he comes up against some pretty significant enemy force. It's just constant. Like, it feels like this guy's always got a full plate. I remember old Savage Dragon issues where, half the issue was just him doing paperwork, hunched over a table, just doing paperwork. And it's like, man, that's so true to life. We've all been there, stuck with paperwork, not necessarily being a cop, but you got to, they're like, hey, Dragon, come down for a beer. It's like, I got to finish these arrest forms. I imagine the same sort of thing with Aquila. He's got aspects of his human identity. Hey, man, you want to do this? How do I explain to him I'm a space cop and I've got to fill out all this paper? There's parallels there that we can all relate to.
It's funny you say the paperwork, because movies like Lethal Weapon or Die Hard, like something will happen. They sit down, get like a glass of water or coffee, and then they leave. No. If that happens, if you're an event like that, you're in the office all day doing paperwork and stuff, like incident reports
and you got to do. You got the little diagram. You got to do a play-by-play to show how things worked out. Okay, and I point him a gun. You don't shoot the ambassador of South Africa and just get away with it. And your career's fine. Danny Glover. What was that all about?
So Crazy Matt says, i.e. read Tolkien. I know how dudes with rings end up. And then Casey says, is it just me or is it weird that Mo is not here? It is weird that Mo's not here.
Well,
but like I said, I think they're over there with good stuff. So
we're aiming for a chat where people are going to be positive about this project. So if Mo's not here, that might be. He's been given Aardvark a really unfair time because
why?
Well, have a look at the art there behind the fantastic artwork.
I like that art.
Jump kick there. I love that artwork.
No, is that Dean? Is that Dean?
No, that's
tell your story, man.
Yeah, that's the guy who wrote that, who drew my art. He's from Vietnam. He works for a studio, and the studio, his name's Kai Son, but he works for a studio called Light Comic Studios, and they competed in the International Shonen Jump manga contest, and they came second.
Nice.
So when you consider how many people must have applied, how many people must have competed, they came second place in that contest. So these guys are really good artists. They they don't usually do science fiction, but I brought this idea to them and they said, yeah, we'll do it, and we fancy a challenge. And they made this come a reality. But this project wouldn't be around if it wasn't for help from Kimosabi, because he helped me with the designs. He helped me with Aquila's design. He helped me with all the aliens designs. Getting Aquila's design right was like,
mate, that was months.
It was easy. It was easier to write my university dissertation, which was 12,000 words about like third world economies.
It is hard, man. Character design is hard. It really is.
And eventually,
but it's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to do. What'd you say, Kimo?
That's a good design. I'm really proud of this design. It came out looking really good. Dean's,
I saw you guys do it on the stream, right?
Yeah, well, the Aquila one that we did that a couple of years ago. Again on this Discord, I think I was probably the most artistically inclined out of everybody in that Discord. So people say
there's no probably about it. You were.
Thanks, mate. I'm trying to see Brian's here. I'm trying to be humble because he's giving me real complex. And somebody said I got this new character idea, and I just sketch it up, say, hey, does it look like this? Like I'd sort of put my own spin on it, or try and take the bits out of there and draw, because I love doing that sort of stuff. So we had a bunch of Aquila designs. He had capes. He had the more Roman thing with the crest and everything. We tried a bunch of stuff, bunch of different color schemes. Eventually, this is one that we settled on, the one that Aardvark was most happy with. I think it's a really strong design. Yeah. And then he came to me later on and said, hey, do you want to give me a hand designing the bad guys, the aliens, for this first issue? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So like you said, Dirk, we did a couple of design streams. We appreciate all suggestions, Crazy Mad, all of them.
Kimo, going back to being that humble thing, I'd have to say, of everyone I know, you're really good at it, because a lot of people, when they try humility, it's like really tough and it takes years, and you don't even try. You just don't do it. And it's so much easier.
It's very, like the guy's super talented in like multiple different skill sets, and he's always underselling himself.
Hold on, we just got Kimo back on the stream, and you're like ready to kick him off, Murph. What's going on, man?
But like
it was a compliment.
What was it?
You're the best
at veiled compliments.
The great thing is though that me and Kimo were kind of because we know each other so well at this point. Like he knows what I'm going for when I describe things.
Yeah.
So when I say could you do me the alien ears like the aliens from Dragon Ball? He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Bert's ears, the little.
They look like plug sockets.
The holes. Yeah. I love those. They're my favorite ear designs.
Or kind of make him look like one of those things, and he'll be like, oh yeah, okay, and he'll draw it exactly what I.
I suppose you guys have a bit of that too, because you guys have worked closely together for a while now, and it just continues to build. And it's the same sort of rapport that I've been developing with Dean the last year or two, working on him with some stuff. It's just so great to work with like-minded people. You're sort of in the same sphere of ability as well. I'll be honest, I do think Aardvark's a slightly better writer than I am. Like I think I'm good. I don't have any doubt. I give myself a 10 out of 10. I think Aardvark's like a 10.5 out of 10. Like I think he just pips me. His structure and his plots are a bit tighter, and they wrap up more concisely. And he does this thing. It's quite a clever thing. He goes into the story knowing that it actually has to have an end. And he plans for that before he starts writing, and then it makes it a lot easier. I sort of just turn up with an idea, spill shit everywhere, and then I've got to put it back together, and it can take me a while. I eventually get there, and it's eventually fantastic, but I see the advantage in the way that Aardvark does that sort of thing. So, when you're back, just know that you're getting a complete story. It's a one and done. You just pick it up and you can enjoy it. You get context. Everything is very, very implicit. Doesn't have to be big beating you over the head. Sector 4322. This is this guy. This is how he does this thing. Like Aardvark's very good at world building and laying down the lore in a way that you're reading and you don't realize you've picked up facts about the universe. By the time you get to the end, you've got like this whole canon. You've got this whole new understanding of this new world, and that's what these IPs are all about, isn't it? Bringing new worlds, escapism. But at the same time, this is a piece of a bigger puzzle. Like he's talking to me last night about this big event down the line, this big story. that he's got planned with these characters and other characters that he's worked on. I mean, this I said before in other places, like Aardvark's got a good half a dozen IPs that I think it's a bit like Dave Brink on Perfect 10. If he had the resources to do a monthly book, he'd be selling 100,000 copies a month. I feel like Aardvark's the same. If he had the resources to be putting out a book a month, the way that Marvel and DC do, he'd be doing high 5 to 6 figures a month. Like he's just putting out good, fun, solid books. You pick it up, you read it. There's no politics. You don't get beat over the head with all the wokeness. Like Batman kowtowing to Kelly Carey and Gay Robin with his boyfriend on the front cover. Like nobody's gonna pick that up.
Apolitical. I don't steer right or left. I don't beat anybody over the head with any kind of messaging. I just really want to write a story about a cop arresting a Bigfoot. Like that's all I want. Yeah. And
follow your dreams, people.
Yeah, no doubt.
But like coming back to something Kimo was saying, like I said it in our solar system, kind of for two reasons. One, it's so that Earth is always there, right? So it's always kind of we're familiar with Mars and Venus and Jupiter and Saturn, but I also said it in our solar system because there's actually a lot of stuff that I don't even know about our own solar system. Like Jupiter has got, I think, something like 62 moons. That is an absurd number. And
so if you're a rogue space criminal, where are you going to go hide?
Where are you going to go hide?
There's moons of Jupiter.
Planet with 62 moons.
Yeah.
Like they can't come to every one of them one by one and find us.
No, and without some sort of ridiculous technology to scan for life signs over a huge, like you got to go down and do it in person. You got to go down and see what are they going to hide? They'll build a little base or what? Like there's so many places you could have little pirate coves and stuff, and all this illegal trafficking and all sorts of crimes could be going on there. The scope for storage is really unlimited.
One of the other benefits of that as well is that like if you're a child reading this, right? And you see, like, on the very first page of my comic, spoilers, on the very first page, you see it says Saturn, 6th moon of the solar system. And then the next panel, it says Prometheus, the 16th moon of Saturn. Now, I didn't know that when I first started writing that, but if you're a child and you pick that up, you're learning science. You're learning astrophysics, and if you look up into the sky and you're a child and you've read my book, you look up in the sky, you might be thinking, "Wow, there's aliens near here." You know, this is the thing about science; it has kind of ruined a lot of what we can fantasize about when we say, like, "Oh, well, there's aliens up there," but they're not for like 10. You have to travel at the speed of light for 10 million years for you to be able to see them. And it's like, you know, it kind of ruins kind of some of the magic about the human experience.
Yeah, it puts too much reality on it. Yeah, you're right.
Well, I'm sorry, keep going.
There was a thing a few years ago where in Glastonbury Abbey in England, for hundreds of years, there has been these two graves that are allegedly King Arthur and Guinevere.
Mm-hmm.
And I also almost don't want to tell this story, but for some reason, they exhumed those bodies in those graves, and turned out, lo and behold, it wasn't a male and a female. It was two monks or something like that.
Right.
Why do that?
Yeah, it's less fun.
Why do that? There was
the world is less magical.
You've taken away something from the mythology of the culture. You've taken something away from the town. You know, you've taken something away from the people that live there, part of their identity.
Like when they scan the lock to discover there's no Nessie. They're like, "I know we did sonar, we did this, we did that." We can unequivocally say, I mean, people pushed back and said, "No, you're wrong. You've missed this. There's tunnels, whatever." But they, they basically scanned it, said, "Oh, there's no Loch Ness monster." I mean, the world's less magical for having done that. There's less fun. There's less wonder.
Yeah.
I think it's intentional. I think they're like, we're just going to take away every little fun bit of thing, every little bit of mysticism, everything that's esoteric, everything that's not just straight up. Here's exactly the hard science. It's in a textbook. It's inflexible. It's infallible. You can't question it. They're taking all the fun away from everything, you know. If as comic book creators we can put a little bit of that fun back into the world, I think we have an obligation to do it.
And you know, I can use these I'm going based off the science. You know, like Mars is a dust-filled, cold planet. with barely any atmosphere. That doesn't mean I can't write stories on there that, that doesn't mean there can't be life forms that live on there. But it doesn't mean that there can't be adventures on there. I'm following the rules that have been put out there by, NASA or whoever.
Well, isn't there that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? Aren't they on Mars? And as long as they don't go outside, their heads don't pop. As long as
Total Recall. That's an absolute classic.
Total Recall.
Yeah.
Get your ass to Mars.
Get your ass to Mars.
That's a good one. No, I
It's
really
so
like
quotable,
the character designs on here, man. As we get closer to,
you're welcome.
I got a bigger picture up on here, and I really like it. Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. I watched you design this character on the left.
Yeah. His name is
guy.
Kind of going back to reality, where police or cops or whatever you want to call them in real life have some cool equipment to do different things when it comes to like arrest, like whatever is a gun or a baton or the electrical things, mace. They also can put stuff on the ground to stop vehicles. Because of the technology this has, do you try to do something for each of those areas, or do you completely kind of make up new tools for him to use based off the place he's at?
Well, he is a human, and he was a cop on Earth, so he's gonna stick with what he knows.
Yeah, he has sensibilities.
So when those kind of situations do arise, it's interesting. It would be an interesting situation where Aquila is in the position where he's got to use this kind of human tech or something similar to human tech to outsmart an alien that's from a civilization that's thousands of years ahead of ours. And do the aliens anticipate that somebody's going to be using, arcane technology like a speed trap or a speed camera or handcuffs? So it's kind of, it puts a lot of interesting scenarios in front of us to explore those kind of things. But a lot of it is very kind of grounded. It is very the kind of stuff that you see on Earth. But I mean, again, it's with aliens and spaceships and action and explosions. But just want to put over this cover. This is going to be a wraparound cover on one of the there's going to be the A cover and the B cover, and this is going to be a wraparound cover for one of the variants. And it was done by an artist called Kari Slaviejo. She's from the Philippines. She is a hidden treasure. She is absolutely amazing. She's working on SPQR with Michael Odin right now.
It looks like a lot of fun, that book.
Cool. Did she paint this too?
This is this is digital.
Okay.
Can you believe it?
But did she digitally paint it, or did she just draw it and then you guys had it colored by somebody else?
No, she did everything on that page.
Oh, okay, cool.
Everything on that page is her, except for the designs. But even then, she made the designs. No offense, Kiba, but her art embellished those designs. She added a whole new perspective.
I mean, look at the big green dude with the spikes, the smirk on his face, like that arrogant, I'm going to eat you, the glow, the little tattoo chin strip, and just the way that his face is so squat and so broad. There's a level of animation there that you just don't get in a character design. A real artist will elevate a design into something like that, and it says everything it needs to say about that. Even the bird dude there, he's just got like this completely cold, predatory look. Like he looks like he's just like, you're a worm, I'm gonna eat you. Like I'm a raptor, I'm a bird. I'm just like, crows, like tiny little dinosaurs hopping along and picking up lizards and worms from the ground and eating them. It's like, you're vicious, man. Crows are vicious looking little buggers, So
remember when we were drawing that guy? When you were drawing that guy, and the concept for the vulture looking guy was that he was a one of those like rubber chicken toys that you give to your dog. He's one of them, but the rest of his body is a cybernetic like mech suit.
Yeah, he's like this little rubber chicken man in a robot suit. And it's just,
when he gets squeezed, he makes that noise.
That'd be so cool. If they can do an animated one, you've got to do that. When he gets hit, you have the rubber chicken noise when he gets hit and punched all over the place. And that organic sort of creation. Like that wasn't the idea going into there. I don't believe. I think that was just something that come up along the way.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, what if his body was just like fully mechanical? Yeah, and it gives you a chance then to like you could, if you want, you could tear the mechanical arm off his body. It's not going to do him any damage. He's a little chicken man inside, so it gives you scope for some other storytelling things. I got a character with one cybernetic arm in one story, and there's a bit where it gets destroyed, and because it's destroyed, he can't focus. G'day, Elliot. He can't focus his power remotely. He's got to do it hands on, so it changes his whole dynamic in combat. He can't shoot his energy. He's got to go right up, put his hands on someone to transfer the energy across. So all those sort of things, they add to the narrative. There's a lot you can do with such a varied group of aliens that you're going to be fighting against. It's going to be a big fun battle.
Yeah, and I go with the Star Wars approach when it comes to, two things. I really love the alien designs from the Dragon Ball series. Those things are just every time I see another alien in Dragon Ball, I'm just like, wow, I love it. But the other thing is that I go with the Star Wars approach, and I want how like you never just see one of the same species, like you see multiple. That you see Greedo in Star Wars, and then in the next 2 movies later, you'll see like 3 Rhodians instead of just Greedo, or you see one Twi'lek. You don't just see one Twi'lek, you see like multiple. And I kind of want that universe to feel kind of like that, where you're going to see the same species multiple times, and you're going to be familiar. And then maybe one day there will be like a guidebook put out about all the different species, and
that's really cool.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Now,
that's way off in the future. Where I'm talking small right now. Just got a 22-page comic. Small and achievable goals.
I love cop movies. Like Lethal Weapons are my favorite. Die Hard's really cool. And there's some tropes that you'll get with cop movies or shows where you usually get it where a cop gets like set up, and they have to like get out of a building. And there's also where the time, especially if your cop's just good person, other cops won't trust them or won't help them. Is there any things like that planned down the road, or do you want to stay away from those things that you've seen in movies? Because I think they're cool. So I don't think I think if you use that, it makes it better, because I just think those are things you don't get in other stories because of the job a cop has.
John Mcclane is he's like a detective. He's like a high level cop, right? He's like an experienced veteran cop. The thing I was going for with Aquila was he's just like a street cop. He's a beat cop. He's a small town cop, and he does simple things that get out of hand very quickly. And so they always start with like a routine kind of police thing. Somebody's got a
so more like training
license.
day.
They've got an expired license, and then it turns out that the person who has an expired license has got. I'm just creating a story as we speak. The person who's got an expired license happens to be a car thief, and he works for a company that steals spaceships, and exports them to other galaxies. And it's really dangerous, because what if other galaxies get our technology and then they come, they use it against us? Like it would escalate into something like that.
Yeah.
But again, it's much more small scale.
Okay.
It's much more small scale. It's like illegal trading and piracy and I
think that's a classic cop tale structure. They look at the Dredd movie from 2012, Carl Urban, 10 out of 10, fantastic movie. You can watch it every day of the week, twice on Sunday. He turns up to look at just like a murder. There's like a death. They go turn up, and they're like, okay, someone's been killed. That's not unusual. Let's start doing the investigation. Then more dudes drop, and the whole place locks down, and then it's on, and then it's just like non-stop, balls to the wall.
Yeah, he's like in a 75-floor building, isn't he?
Yeah,
like a hotel building that he's got to go through.
He's got his fight his way all the way to the top, take out the bag. Then he walks out, gets on his bike, and goes to the next job.
I really wanted that at the end when Dredd walks out of the mega block or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And he just gets on his bike and starts going, drives off. I really wanted that. I really wanted this to come across, that Aquila is always on duty. He's always busy. I like that. Yeah.
like
Does that mean you're not giving him a life outside of the job where like he would just go to the bar or have a girlfriend, or are you sticking to only when he's on the job stories?
Maybe.
Okay. I'm sorry. I think so much.
That's
To me,
a great question.
I love the idea.
It is no,
of
it's
a
a perfectly
cop
reasonable
thing,
question.
so-
So you know, I do have plans down the line for stuff like that. But I would like for it to be a surprise. But in this story, it is primarily for this book that is coming out. It's just about him and his job, and for the next few books, it would be pretty much the same thing.
Right.
I do have kind of humanizing stories planned in the future, the near future. But this story right now, it's just him going to arrest a space squatch.
Okay, so let's get into the book a little bit. What? How many pages is it going to be? And
It's going to be.
What do you?
Well, okay, it's 22 pages. They are all
22?
complete. The entire book is done. I need to emphasize this. The cover is done. Dean is going to color the other cover on screen. On stream, sorry. The lettering is done. Obviously the writing and editing is done. The only thing that needs to be done, besides Dean coloring the cover, which will be very quick, is the funding and the printing and shipment and all that, fulfillment and so on. So you will get this book very quickly.
Okay.
You're not,
So
and that
this
was
is
my
the cover
aim going
Dean's gonna
into
do.
this. That was my aim going into this. I didn't want to be one of those campaigns that never delivers.
Sure.
And
Imagine being sort of arsehole that's 3 months late on their book. What a prick! Who would make their book? Who would have a 3 month late?
No. God, you're extenuating circumstances.
Oh, man, everyone's getting smashed by the paper shortage.
But but you've actually delivered something. You've gave them the digital copies.
That's true. That's true. I
Like,
did that at the start of the year.
and
But being 22 pages, it means that there's less paper needed for your book as well. So you get that's another
and
advantage.
it's
Like I got an
lighter,
email
so
from
it
my
won't cost as much to ship. And
yeah, that's right, black and white, so it's going to be a quicker job too.
Yep,
I got an email from my
and
printer
you're
saying,
saving
"Oh look,
trees." So thank you for that.
the dolphins will thank you." And he's like, "Look, your book's in the queue, but until we get the right paper of the right stock and the right size for you and the right amounts, we just cannot print your book until that happens. It could be next week, it could be next month. We just don't know." Whereas for you, because it is a smaller book, because it's black and white, I think it's going to be advantages in your favor, and you're going to be able to get it printed. You're going to be able to. I wouldn't be surprised if your book ends up in people's hands before my one does.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that would be, and like I said, I want to get my books out, and I don't want to, because the other thing is, honestly, I've wanted to be a writer since I was 5 years old.
Nice.
And there's that thing inside of me. I just want other people to get my book and read it, see what I'm capable of. And this is on, this is on a, I don't want to like put down my own book, but this was on a limited budget. So if the book was successful, what could I do with even more money? And Kemosabe has put over it enough times. He thinks that I'm a really great writer.
Yes, I do.
I think I'm a pretty good writer.
There's no advantage for me to say it if it wasn't true. Like, why would I say this guy's literally a better writer than me if it wasn't true?
Yeah,
I don't come across a lot of people that I feel are even in my sphere, let alone better than me.
Well, I really appreciate that, but yeah, like I really just want everyone to see what I can do, and there's that kind of egotistical, proud side of it. But honestly, I just want people to be happy again. I want people to be able to pick up a book and watch a Sasquatch get beat up by a space cop. Like, I don't want people to pick up a book and get like
we're very pro Sasquatch
lecture about I don't know, like some kind of foreign policy, or or pick up their book and it be, like they can't give it to their children for whatever reason.
Yeah. There's a big thread on Twitter recently about how Netflix is just cramming curse words into everything, and someone's saying that there's that show Big Mouth was advertised for kids, like a kid show because it's
Yeah.
set in a high school or whatever, or a primary school.
Right.
And they walked in, there's some 5-year-old watching it at their friend's place, and they're talking about vaginas and stuff. It's like, the kids are 5, man. They don't need to be talking about that stuff.
Right.
Or if it is,
Exactly.
they should be talking to their parents and carers about that sort of stuff in the appropriate way, in the appropriate time. Like, a lot of this stuff's being forced for no good reason.
Yes.
This is a safe book. This is the book that you can pick up from 5 to 45 and beyond, and just go, oh, yeah, that's what comics used to be. You know,
Yeah,
30 years ago, you could pick up an issue of X-Men, an issue of Batman,
fun.
issue of Superman, and everything was acceptable in there. There was, you know, you have no problem. Your kid goes, I'm going to go buy a Spider-Man comic. You're like, cool. I don't even need to look at it because I know it's good. It's going to be written by Roger Stern or something. It's going to have John Buscema artwork. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be, it might be 50 years ago. I'm showing my age, boys.
Okay.
30 years ago.
All right, so let's talk about Dean James doing this. Wait, I'm sorry, I talked over you. What's up?
I said he shows his age every time he goes on camera. He looks like a Neanderthal. He's prehistoric.
That's
I'm
funny.
the original Vandal Savage.
So, okay, let's get to Dean James doing this. This is Dean James' cover, right?
This is Dean's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gun. I love that gun design. It's like a modern
great.
gun, just with that bit of Star Wars phaser element to it, you know.
Well,
yeah,
where the phaser guns at, you know.
Yeah,
just different.
I'll tell you the origin of where I wanted that gun to you know, what I wanted it to look like. It was the Red Ranger's gun from Power Rangers. I said to Dean, could you make something that looks kind of like this, but not like this?
I thought it was like Buck Rogers or something like that.
And Dean was like, yeah, no problem, mate. I'll do it right for you right away. Yeah, I had that toy when I was a kid.
I remember them having swords. I don't remember them having guns.
Oh yeah, the Red Ranger's gun could fold backwards and it would turn into a sword.
Yeah, the first one, like the original
Power. Yeah, the.
Wow, I don't remember that at all. That's so interesting that I can't even picture it.
Okay, so Dean's going to color this live.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's going to go on stream and he's going to color it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's gonna look. He's gonna do it in his Copic style. So you might have seen him do that for Egg Beater and Heiress and one of the other campaigns. I think Michael's Odin's campaign.
He did Shotgun Samurai as well.
Yeah. Did he do that in the Copic style?
Yeah, with like gouache with white ink. Copics, that sort of stuff. He's gone real traditional again. He's just taking this traditional turn, and it's like as good as his digital stuff is, the traditional stuff is even better. I can't stand it.
Yeah, and you know what? You want to make it like you want to carve out your own kind of identity, you know. And
he's doing awesome.
So what I love about this is that so he penciled, inked, and he's coloring this. This is all him in one cover, and it's going to be in a very unique style, right? It's not going to look like anything else, and it's going to have all the background detail and everything. It's going to look so colorful and bright and wonderful. And then my other cover is also in a very unique style. So both of my covers are going to have excellent artwork, and they're going to look completely different from anything that you're going to see on you know.
That's what Murph and I did on our book too, man. I think the covers matter a lot, and
it's a big selling point.
It is, and it's not just that. It's that I wanted whatever happened on the cover to be something that was in the story. Like, you're not getting a fake cover. It's not a fake out. You're not getting somebody on the cover that you're not going to see inside the book. You know?
Right. Well, when I was pitching ideas to Dean, I was looking at, because one of my biggest inspirations, like I might have said this earlier, it's retro science fiction comics. So things like, you know, Americans would be familiar with Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon. In England, we had a character called Dan Dare, Dandare, who was very much if you could imagine what a British Flash Gordon would be like. Or a British,
I know Dan Dare, but I'm Australian, so it's natural because we've got the similar pedigree.
Yeah, but you know, so I was looking at Dan Dare and those covers and Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers and those kind of things. And I was saying like something like this, you know, with the heroes in the front and he's got a posture. And I was expecting something very simple, you know. And then Dean comes back to me and he says, "Do you want me to draw a giant tentacle monster on it?" And I was like, yes. Yes, please. And so there's a giant tentacle monster on the cover.
Nice. I love it.
And
I love the stories of how the covers come together. We have a few stories of ours, and I love the stories of them because.
Well, the great thing about this cover is that it's inspired something down the line.
Yeah.
So Dean has actually created a. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, it's not going to feature in this book, but there might be elements related to it, possibly.
Yeah.
I love that. Building that deeper, bigger lore, and this is the thing with these new IPs. It's an investment. You buy in now on any and any of these IPs that stick around, you're getting the payoff. Like here, you get a great comic, sure. First issue of Company Men, a great payoff. But if you get in from the beginning, by the time you're hitting, book 12 of Company Men of the fourth story, and all this stuff that I've started putting together now comes to fruition, your mind's going to be blowing and be like, oh man, you're not just picking it up and reading it at the end there, or you're not getting half the story. You've got that long-term investment. This is anti-binge culture. Where so much of this world is binge culture. You sit down, new season of The Witcher, I'll watch it all in one night. That's mental. We do it, but it's mental. Remember the day when you used to have to wait, a week before the next episode of Columbo or Perry Mason. I love Perry Mason, man. I watch Perry Mason all day. Raymond Burr is the man. And so that's what we're doing now. We're just by nature of the game, of the Indiegogo game, we sort of got to pass it out a bit at a time. But I think that's also going to build hype. It's also going to build interest. And it's going to build people. I've been following this book for so many years, 3, 4, 5 years. There's that. There's a love for it, and there's a connection to it. And it becomes part of your identity, a part of their identity.
Exactly.
It's something that we can do that the mainstream is failing really hard at now. I think we can offer that since, whoever's writing Batman comics doesn't want to give that to me. I can find it in other people's work.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, my books, they're not exactly serialized. They're every story is standalone, but every story has features that will impact later on down the line. So I go with the Stan Lee philosophy of every comic is somebody's first.
Yeah, that's very cool.
I don't want people to jump in the middle and not know what's going on. Crazy Mad. I am pro Bigfoot. I am, as you know, I am the Bigfoot advocate.
Sure are.
But we've got to be realistic here. Ursat's he's not a Bigfoot. He's a space squatch. Different kind of kettle of fish here. He looks like a Bigfoot.
Yeah, but they would be related though, right? Like a second cousin.
But it's not Bigfoot. That's like saying, I'm King Kong because I'm a primate.
Well, this is the best thing. So if a Squatch picked up your comic, would it be triggered? Or would it be like, oh, good story?
Yeah, is it like I finally see myself,
and it would say, I don't get offended every time I see a human as a villain.
Nice.
I'm English. We're the most villainous people in cinema.
But are you blonde-haired and blue-eyed?
Yes.
Oh, right for cancelling.
Nice.
You better watch yourself. Good thing you're not on camera, brother.
I'm also red-haired as well.
Oh no,
I'm brown-eyed.
Except in that picture you see down in the corner right there with my wife. Then I was blonde, but yeah, I'm red-haired too.
Yeah, but you're 5 there, so.
Yeah, right. So 5 and
you both really look like little kids, like little babies getting a picture taken.
Right. Oh boy.
Yeah, Dean did a fantastic job on this.
He
cover.
did.
And
it looks really great, man.
This wasn't coordinated, but besides Ursat's, who is the space squatch, all of the gang are represented in both covers, and it wasn't coordinated. So there's only one guy who's in the gang that isn't on either or of the covers.
Is it the little dude, the little goblin dude?
No, he's on Kari's cover. The little pink goblin dude. I don't know which one it is, but from the top of my head. But yeah.
In your universe, if he accidentally killed a squash, would squash lives matter after that?
We're still on the large. Would you rather be big or strong or small?
No, he said there's a squatch there. So
well, I mean, I don't like to get political, But Aquila's got a no-kill policy. He is,
Oh.
he's a good
Okay,
guy.
I like that.
He's a good guy, and yeah.
So I got questions. When are you looking to launch this book?
Well, I mean, I'm following the Comicsgate rule of thumb. Once you
Sure.
get the free figures of the signups, then that would be a good indicator to activate the campaign. Right now we're sitting at 47. So if any free people would like to bump that up to 50, that would make me very happy.
Yeah, I signed up earlier, so.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you very much. Yeah, the campaign's been running for just under a week and a half.
Okay.
So we've got 47 so far. So we could be looking at possibly April time. It's going to launch, maybe around Easter.
Okay. After reading Kemosabe's thing, I want to go chung chung. So in space, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious Squatch felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Phoenix Guard. These are their stories. Chung chung. There you
now
go.
I've got to write a whole new IP.
Well, I'd be interested to sort of see like who the because there's a lot of places you can go with this, and I know you're the sort of person who thinks about this stuff, and you're the sort of person who plans for this stuff and has it in the back of their head, because you are a broad thinker and you are a good world builder. Like if this guy's a regular shit kicker, law and order type patrol cop, what are the detectives? What are their version of SWAT? What are their version of special tactics and like what's their version of?
Yeah, do they have probation? Do they have judges? Like what is their legal system?
And I think you've talked before about like military branches,
nice.
Navy branch, Air Force, Army sort of things. So I know you've got some of this stuff planned out already. I think it's exciting to be a reader to get in on this level of that patrol cop type thing, and then sort of see where are you going to take this. And I know you've got this stuff planned out, so I don't want to say too much. But I think it's very cool to think like if this guy is just a regular bloke, who's the elite? Who's the door kicker? Who's the guy that investigates really serious crimes that requires a detective type, like a very elite level detective,
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if this has been. Is he a rookie? Is he seasoned? What?
He's a rookie. He's at the time of reading it, he's been in the job for about a year. He's from Earth, so like I said, he's not familiar with any of the alien tech or anything like that. He's just about getting used to flying a spaceship.
Now is he good? Like, is he able to take like a year of training and be good at his job, or does he take like 10 years like Derek does?
Thanks, Murph.
Well, you can see all this within the pages of Aquila issue 1.
Nice.
There's no background story. You dive right in.
Okay.
You dive right in on it. So
and again, this is this implicit storytelling. Like it doesn't say after so many years of training. Like you dive in, you see the way that Aquila responds to things, and whether or not he's gone through that long training period or whether he's just a pure rookie cop and he's just been given the stuff said, here, this is your sector. Like this is the advantage of Aardvark's storytelling techniques, is all those questions get answered through the course of the story. Which I think is the very best way. Exposition minimal, very best way to get. I got a story I just finished last night. I just got to go back and tweak it, and it's about a space PI, space private investigator. He's actually a character I made years ago. I don't know if Aardvark remembers this, specifically to team up with a killer. Whether or not that still happens is something we can talk about, but he's very exposition heavy because he's a PI, and he's like, as the raindrops of the sky drizzle down like the darkness of my soul. It's like what's a whole different sort of storytelling technique to build that sort of atmosphere, whereas what Aardvark's doing with this is very much drop you in the middle of it, and you just as a competent reader, you just Elliot's got it right, show don't tell, and that's a big strength of Aardvark.
I don't like to assume that my audience is stupid.
Right.
Well,
you also, it's like what we talked about earlier, the mystery box. You don't want to feed too much to them because you want them to discover it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you should definitely give him like a cool animal sidekick, like a dog. Like those police dogs.
Yeah, maybe something like that down the line. I didn't even consider that.
What are you talking about? You could, because it's an alien too. You can make up whatever you want, like a
Here we
really
go.
cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As of right now, there's it's just him by himself, and I kind of wanted it to get across that he is kind of, he is just out of his depth, but in a good way,
Right.
He's still learning and he's still getting used to everything. I think
Like
right now, getting his he's got a head-up display on his helmet that he can talk to, and like a Jarvis kind of thing.
Cool.
Nice.
Except nowhere
cool.
near as like, it doesn't have a conversation with him and give him quippy replies. It's just very much straight up like activate fire extinguisher,
Yeah.
But he still has trouble getting that to work sometimes,
Oh, that's cool.
He's still getting used to that.
Yeah.
Does his
fun.
helmet like Iron Man able to see things, or like Terminator, or like things will come up and he automatically has information if he looks at a person's face or something like that?
You'll see.
Okay.
Close to the chest.
Yeah, but like, so just having a helmet like that on a spaceship is probably enough on his plate right now. I can't imagine him having a good time taking care of an alien like space Rottweiler, That would be
Although if you did go for alien sidekick animal creature, I think it's a natural step to give him a cybernetic eagle like Tallyhawk from Silverhawks, like that. That's very on brand.
Yeah.
Also, Tallyhawk was cool as hell. So I'm just
that could also be a bit too obvious.
Could it?
What
could
about
it
a
be a bit too
cybernetic
awesome?
griffin? How about that?
Okay, you made me a believer. I'm there. I just want to say, Silverhawks was always better than Thundercats. Nobody wants to have a conversation.
Well, it's funny.
You're not ready for that conversation, but it's the truth.
Because even when you think about it,
I grew up
seen
watching Silverhawks, man.
I've never heard of it in my entire life.
Like,
I loved it.
the new Blade Runner, he has a robot that's with him to scan like the area, and then that Tom Cruise movie where they're on Earth, he would have that big white ball that could shoot stuff that would be around him.
Oblivion?
Morgan Freeman was in it. I can't think
Never
of what
seen
it's
it,
called.
but
Oblivion?
there's only so many Tom Cruise movies out there. You can sort of guess it, can't you?
What was it?
Was it Oblivion, Murph?
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, don't bring up Snarf in front of Murph. Don't do it.
No, it's just Derek can really do it well, like he's practicing for 5 years.
I grew up with that shit, man.
Yeah. That was my Saturday mornings.
Thundercats was awesome, man. They looked so
Just
cool.
not as awesome as Silverhawks. We agree. I'm glad we're on the same
I have
page.
no
Murph,
idea
as
what
usual.
Silverhawks is, so
you can just trust me that I'm right.
I like Silverhawks.
Yeah, I don't know what
I liked it
Silverhawks
growing
is
up.
either.
I did.
you know why you didn't know about it, Aardvark? Because it sucks. That's why.
Oh, I was also going to
kick Murph.
suggest maybe
Go
I'm a
kick
bit
it.
too.
Kick him.
Maybe I'm a bit-
Yeah. Let's just pull him
Kick
right
him from
out.
his own show.
Let's go. Here we go.
Oh no! Terrible. I'm
maybe
sorry,
I'm
Murph.
just
I
the
didn't know
wrong
he was going to do
generation
it.
for it.
I
shit.
think you're probably about 10 years. There's 10 years before you were probably watching cartoons and stuff. Like
Well,
I watched it when I was.
I was watching
Right.
Thundercats on VHS.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it's the
okay.
same company, same mob,
Yeah.
same setup. I mean, the face of Lino and Quicksilver are basically the same. A very easy
Right.
overlap, and there's almost
Oh wow.
like Steel Will. He's the big tough inventor guy. Well, big tough inventor guy is Panther. So there's a lot of overlap
Right.
there. I actually, in my mind, they were part of the same universe. Like
Yeah.
Thundercats were just
too.
on a planet somewhere within, maybe not even within the Silverhawks jurisdiction, but
Yeah. I thought the same
and
thing.
He-Man could very easily exist on there as well. Tony is just off in a different quadrant of the galaxy. I don't see any reason why those three couldn't overlap.
They honestly should, right?
Yeah, it's wasted
I mean,
potential otherwise.
But all made
Yeah,
by the
they
same
had a lot of
company?
potential, man. They could still bring that stuff back. I think it'd be cool to see Silverhawks get resurrected.
I'm looking here. It seems there was another thing as well called Tiger Sharks that was in the same vein.
I'm aware of it, but I never
Tiger
saw that
Sharks,
one. That
That was
the-
more 90s, right? Wasn't that 90s?
Yeah, it was more of a Turtles ripoff.
Right.
No, not Street Sharks, Tiger
Not Street
Sharks. It was
Tiger
same
Oh,
as same
okay.
as Thundercats and Silverhawks, but they had
You're right.
just like the Thundercats are all different cat-based creatures.
Yes,
These are all
I remember
different.
that now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware of it, but I never saw it. It was never, as far as
Yeah,
I
I
know, it was never
watched it.
showed in Australia. Same
I
guy,
did
same
watch it.
company. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 90s there was the Turtles, but then there There was Street Sharks, Extreme Dinosaurs, Biker Mice from Mars.
Oh, biker mice.
I like the
That's cool.
dinosaurs. I thought they were really cool. The
Extreme
robotic
dinosaurs?
dinosaurs.
And there was
Toxic
Mummies
Crusaders.
Alive. There was one with mummies.
They had great designs. Those Mummies Alive. I didn't watch the show
Yeah.
much, but the designs were because I was just getting out of, like, I was in high school then. Like I'd get up in the morning. I'd be like, I don't really want to sit around and watch cartoons in the morning necessarily. I'd have other stuff to do, but I did notice how good the designs were on that show. They certainly took it to the next level.
That's what got me into design, man. All those cartoons back then. That's why I love designing characters so much now.
And
so
there's not like what do they do now? Get up and watch Steven Universe? Like that's not
it's nothing. And
it inspires fan fiction.
Yeah, it's like circles. It's stick figures. It's what Murph wants me to do for his comic book.
My
he wants it turned in so quickly.
My inspiration for Aquila's costume and for generally a lot of the kind of costumes and stuff that are in the book and will appear in future books. I really love Japanese tokusatsu costumes. So like Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, what's the other one? Metal Heroes. And those things have been running for like 20, I think 30, no, yeah, Super Sentai is on its 40th year.
Wow.
Or 45th,
Wow,
possibly 45th year. So
That's
there's,
awesome.
and so there's like just catalogs and catalogs of these cool designs from these costume heroes in Japan from television. And the reason when they're on television, then they're realistic, they're grounded to what.
They've got to be able to actually make them. They've got to be able to actually literally cast every part of the armor, the pauldrons, the chest plate. You can't just have blank spots. Like I had a character design I was really having trouble with. I just couldn't. I knew the bits I wanted, but I couldn't get it all to fit together in a way that would be easily able to be drawn from any angle. So I actually ended up hiring somebody to redesign this character for me. And even they had a bit of trouble trying to make it fit within that three-dimensional realm. You've got to be able to say, you can see his character from the front, back, and the sides, and it always works. It's always consistent. With those 3D real designs on these Sentai shows, there is no blank spots. There is no blind spots. They have to be as real as they can be. And I think using that as a base is another advantage to the aesthetic of your comic, mate. The fact that that's your starting point is a leg up from the next mob that's just doing spandex and underwear. Not that spandex underwear doesn't look fantastic. It does, but it's limited.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's just I love those designs. Often they've got to be practical as well because the guys in the suits have to be able to see out of them. So, and they have to be able to move in them. They have to be able to, function.
Yeah,
and
that's what we did when we were designing armor because armor is very unwieldy anyway. So, yeah, you got to think of all those things when you're designing.
Yeah. And
that's one of the reasons I loved He-Man's designs was because I know it can be goofy at times, but I loved it because it looked like you could actually move in the armor. It worked with the actual action figure. You know what I mean?
And you like staring at his thighs.
Shit, man, they were pretty awesome.
They're pretty good thighs, gotta admit. But look like Trapjaw and Triclops. Like some of the designs coming out of He-Man were some of the best designs ever put on paper.
I agree with that. I totally agree with
just a sort of flash in the pan, crystallized, pure awesome. I mean, some of them were awful, like that dude with the wheel in his chest. It was just a gimmick to sell toys.
Right.
Look like Rio Blast, like this cyborg cowboy with these guns coming out of his thighs, Murph. So much good stuff. So much good stuff out of there.
Yes. Yeah, I think it had some of the best toy designs ever and character designs. So it got my imagination instantly. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I got to have this."
Yeah,
so,
well, I was a '90s kid, so I was, I came up through the Power Rangers and
right.
There was a time in the '90s when Saban Entertainment tried to do a lot of Super Sentai, and they tried not Super Sentai, Tokusatsu stuff, and try and convert it to, because it worked with Power Rangers, so they thought, well, why don't we try it with all these other things? Like Super Sentai had been going for like 15 years before Power Rangers was made. The Power Rangers are the 15th, I think, Super Sentai team.
Wow. Okay.
And that was with all the giant stuff, right?
Yeah.
The giant fights were actually from another show, and then they just...
No, they were all from the same... Yeah, so everything in the costumes was Japanese footage, and then everything with the American actors was done in America.
Oh, I thought
Yes,
the
would you
Power
be?
Ranger outfits were new too. I thought it was just when
No,
they got to the
they
big
when
robot
they did things like the characters without their helmets on, yeah, they were wearing suits, but
You're right, because the Yellow Ranger's a girl, but you can actually see
it's a guy in the
actor.
yeah.
Oh man, my fragile sexuality! Don't do it to me, Murph.
But coming back around to what I was saying, yeah. So I was inundated. You know, I had Power Rangers.
Right.
We had Masked Rider, which was Kamen Rider, the ripoff of not ripoff, adaptation of Kamen Rider. There was Beetleborgs, which was Metal Heroes, and there was VR Troopers. I don't know if anybody else on the planet remembers VR Troopers.
I do.
They had some of the coolest designs. And I had their toys and everything. But
I remember it, but it was, I was beyond. I was at, I was hitting my 18 to 20 phase, so I was like, didn't give a shit about that anymore.
I was like 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
So did you miss the Turtles? Were the Turtles?
So the Turtles have a kind of interesting thing in England. They were kind of suppressed.
Oh wow.
Because of some incident where a child had gotten hold of some nunchucks.
Ooh.
And the sentiment at the time was that Japanese kind of ninja stuff was being trivialized as things that people could actually do. Yeah. And it was kind of seen as kind of cartoonish, I guess. And kids were emulating it, and they were getting injured and stuff like that, and they were injuring other kids. So when
kids
the Turtles
were bringing
debuted,
like ninja stars to class, just throwing them at each other.
When the Turtles debuted, they had to heavily edit the footage, and we didn't call them the Ninja Turtles; they were the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, and even the song said Hero Turtles in it. And when Dragon Ball came out in England for the first time, they actually had to put parental advisory warnings before the show, where it said, this show contains extreme levels of violence, of animated violence. While cartoonish, we still advise caution, or something like that.
Wow.
So, yeah. So like the Turtles, it wasn't, and they, like I said, they edited all the animation to kind of reduce as much of the weapons use as they possibly could. So, but I mean, when you could watch Power Rangers, where they're actually kicking and stuff like that,
right?
And no problem.
I always loved how when they'd punch one of the putties, there'd be like an explosion coming off the dude, sparks. I always thought that was so cool. It's like, there's like a real life Tekken hit effect or something. You punch some dude and sparks come off him. I don't know if it's the material it is, but it's just like, that's so baller. You're not just going to say, ow. There's not just going to be like a little sound effect. This motherfucker's just going to spark up every time I throw hands. That's cool.
Yeah, I watched the Power Rangers. I mean, I was a little bit older, probably maybe like 10, so I wasn't into it, but I remember the first movie was really cool. I do remember that movie was...
Well, the movie, they created whole new costumes.
Yeah.
And
they were kinda, weren't they?
Well, yeah, but when they were the Rangers as well, they created whole new costumes, and they weren't like whole new designs entirely, but they were made to look more cinematic. They weren't spandex,
Yeah.
And the actors could barely breathe wearing them, because it was all like plates of like I don't even know what it was, but they could barely breathe, they could barely move wearing them. Yeah, but it's really interesting, like, because eventually they ran out of footage, so they started to try and they actually commissioned the studios in Japan to get stuntmen to put on the costumes and just like go out and do random kind of things in the costume so that they would have material to use, until eventually they just said, why don't we just adapt all these 15 other series that they've made and instead, because they didn't want to like steer too far away from the brand that they'd already established. So
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, I think we're going to just cover our book real fast here, and then we're going to be calling it a night, I think.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Well, we're not there yet. We're going to cover our book.
Like and subscribe.
Do you not want to cover our book?
Could somebody post possibly the link to Aquila in the chat?
Yes, we did a couple times. Okay. Crazy Matt had it on there. I put it up there just right before he did.
Sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat exactly, so I just didn't.
Crazy Matt,
do you have anything else to promote, like your Twitter or YouTube? I know Derek does.
Yeah, just follow me on Twitter. It's @comicsAardvark. It's Aardvark with 2 A's.
Okay. Well, we're not done yet, but
okay.
Kevin's jumping to the end already, but
he just said, "Hey, we're ending it," and now he's saying, "You know."
I said we're going to cover our book for the third time, and then we will go to the end. But
I love this.
You literally said goodbye, everybody. You didn't say any of this about our book.
Here we go. All
right.
This is why I don't give Murph the controls, because oh my gosh, man.
You do know I can kick you.
You're going to be, if you kick me, you will lose all power.
It doesn't say kick, anyway. It just says remove from stream.
Right. Exactly. So here's our page, Ballad of the Celestials. We are sitting at $2,278 so far with 65 backers. 21 days left for the last 30 days of our campaign. I can't believe it's already gone that fast.
Yeah.
So we're about, 40 or so days in, and we did get funded, but any help will be much appreciated.
Just a big dead spot right in the middle. You do your promos, you go do you do your shield streams, you turn up, and sort of I feel like in that first quarter, everybody who really wants it is going to get it, and then it's a matter of keeping it in people's minds when new people come along. That's what I've done with Company Man. Every week I'll get 1 or 2 more notifications saying, "Hey, you've sold a couple of copies." It's just a matter of just keeping it in people's minds so that when, say, you guys retweet it and then it hits somebody's Twitter that I'm not following or doesn't follow me, then they see it and they go, "Oh, that looks pretty cool. I might check that out."
Right.
So it's just about being seen, I think.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing, is just keeping it going, keeping that machine rolling while you're trying to get people to see it. So, and I think for us is like finding those new avenues, because a lot of the channels that we go on, it's the same people over and over and over again.
Yep.
And we're like, okay, how do we hit those different corners of CG universe, so
and even beyond,
that too, that too.
Everyone's money spends. You don't have to be CG to like our books.
Yeah, that's right. So this is our team cover, just so everybody knows. Just give it a quick overview here. Drawn by me, inked by Peter Palmiotti, and colored by Dio Lima, who also colored the Company Men.
Sure did a great job. He's a real talented dude.
Yep, he's super good.
He's been picked up by Marvel and DC and Dynamite and all these other companies. Is working for all the big companies now because he's just that good.
Yeah, he's fantastic. So, here's the logo. I know Jim Cox was telling me that the logo, I needed to put a different thumbnail on our trailer, because he said the logo looks more rock and roll. It looks like a band instead of a comic book. And I thought, that's interesting input. So we made sure to put a picture on there instead of this logo. I'm still happy with the logo, though.
It's a cool logo.
Yeah, it is. And I have to say, I love the title. The title is anything where it's like the ballad or the lament or the something like that. It's always
classy.
It gives a very kind of mystical, mystical kind of feel.
We almost changed it, but then we decided, no, it's got to go back to that.
Yeah.
So
as long as it's better than the Ballad of John and Yoko,
Yes. So just to give a quick overview, this is our homage cover that we did, also colored by Dio Lima. I drew and inked this page.
See, Aquila would never do that to a Bigfoot.
Yeah. Our hero would smash the crap out of him, and he's going to just smash him as hard as he can. So I don't know if he gets very far, but he gets far enough. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, this was an homage cover to Mike Zeck, which was Cat versus Wolverine back in the day. Very happy about that cover. We have some interior art. We'll just show, kind of scroll.
Did you
through.
design the monster, or was that like just from the top of his head? Or
yeah, I designed the monster. It's kind of a hodgepodge of several beasts.
I see a bit of ox in there. I see a bit of rhino. I see a dinosaur.
Yeah, and even in another panel, it has a little almost like cat-like quality to it. So yeah, it's definitely got this mix. So
what I like about it is rather than being like a griffin, which is just like this whole like throw an eagle's head on a lion's body. It's like that makes sense. Instead of just being it looks like a creature that could have developed or evolved within the ecosphere of this particular world. It looks like a big beast of burden or a big predator. It looks possible. Whereas, chimeras, griffins, hydras, that sort of things have a very mystical element. The idea that the gods somehow must have made this or spawned this or cursed this to get this end result. Because why the hell has it got a lion's head and a goat's head and a dragon? Like it doesn't make and a ram's head doesn't make a lot of sense. Whereas this does. This looks like it's something that could be part of a functioning world.
That's what we were hoping for. So
yeah, that's something I was going for with Aquila, where I've said this like time and time again. This is eventually going to come back to haunt me, I know. But I don't like when aliens are just anthropomorphic.
Oh, yeah.
Animals from Earth, especially,
Right.
Like there's a difference between a Bigfoot-esque creature, which is like, like, because we have that in science fiction already. We've got Chewbacca and stuff like that. But he has features of multiple animals. He's got features of a gorilla. He's got features of a bear. He's got features of a Bigfoot. But like, if it was just like a wolf, and it was just a wolf that stood on two legs, like I wouldn't want that.
Yeah,
it's be lazy.
It's not as interesting at all. Yeah.
Even when you look at science, like you look at breeds of dogs. They usually it's either their paws, their ears, their snout, their neck, their tails, you know what I mean? You could see different things that are in different, you know what I mean, breeds.
Yeah.
Where their fur is and things like that. And that's
Yeah, the animals are definitely going to have, or the beasts, I'll call them, are definitely going to have a piece. They're a part of the story. They're not just created out of nothing. Although Murph didn't know what he wanted the beast to look like, there's a reason it's there. So,
okay.
Yeah, to me, what it looked like, it didn't matter for what we were using it.
Yeah.
At that point, it just needed to be big and fast. Is really what I wanted.
Yeah,
and that's great for an artist because it gives them a bit of license to do something cool and fun. I've said before. With the fights in Company Man, I just said to D, I said to Kelsey, I said, look, you got so many pages here. As long as this happens and that happens, just go nuts. Just do it. Just you have fun. You're the artist. Like imagine me saying, okay, the first panel, this guy punches this guy on a high angle camera view. Then there's a worm's eye view of this guy smashing into the wall. That's no fun. It's no fun for me to write. It's no fun for him to draw. If he can do his own thing, he puts his own twist on it. We all benefit.
And he probably has his own intuitive sort of like screenplay, not screenplay. What's the word? Somebody help me.
Camera placement?
Vision?
When you draw in advance of a movie coming out.
Storyboard?
Storyboard. There we go.
Yeah.
He probably has some kind of intuitive storyboarding going on in his head, which is a lot easier for him or her to put onto the page and than having to read your or my or anybody's kind of
I'll give Derek a script and then I'll give him time to chew it over. Then we'll get together and we'll storyboard it.
Yeah, we finalize it. Yeah.
You guys are so lucky you work with people that speak the same language as you.
I mean, I tried to hold Derek's hand, but he'd be like a 5-year-old wanting his juice if I was just like do it this way.
Hey, Just so you know, I'm like an abandoned child. I had to change my own diapers, make my own food, cook for myself because my parent was gone because Kevin just abandoned me.
I wanted the Beast to look totally different, and Derek's like, I don't like it. I don't like it.
You guys.
That's the other thing about artists, though. Like they all have their own kind of different interpretations of like Chemo's Aquila looks different from Dean's Aquila, which looks different from Kari's Aquila, but they're all, and it looks different from Kaison's Aquila, but they're all distinctively Aquila. Like you can tell that's who the character is, and
that's a sign of a good design too. I've said that about those company men pinups I got done for the first book. Each style is completely different, but it's clear who each character is, and it's clear who you're looking at. You're looking at the company men as a team. That's a good design right there.
Well, and even if we do have a disagreement, we usually like to put it on paper just to see, because you could think it's going to work or not going to work, and then when you put it on paper, you really get to see whether if it does or doesn't.
I think I'm gonna tweet something about that later, and I might just take like headshots of Aquila and say like, 4 artists, 1 guy.
Yeah, man, that's fantastic. That'd be great. Yeah. So this is our wraparound cover. This was also drawn by me and inked by Peter Palmiotti again, and colored by Dio.
Talented dudes.
What's that?
Some talented dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he put that sky in the background. We left this all blank and white back here, and he put that sky in there, and oh my gosh, it just
makes it pop, doesn't it?
What's crazy, it's like he knows things about the story things will in the future, and it's so weird that way.
Yeah, I think he's just intuitively talented.
Yeah,
he is. He can see it. He knows what you're going for, and he just hits it. So, yeah, it was perfect. And this came out way better. This wraparound took a little piece of me in the creation of it, though. But it was worth it. You know what I mean? It was definitely worth the drawing. And I say that because I'm not used to drawing wraparound covers. So it's
it's a whole different, because the layout's different. You're doing a landscape. Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, how do you focus? So you got to get your hero in there. And then you have to get, if you want the villain, you got to know how to show it right. And then you're like, how do the angles work? So it really, it's a big deal. But then once I got it drawn, we have a friend that helps us with just ideas, and he bounces stuff off. We bounce stuff off of him just to see what he thinks. And we have a lot of fun with him. He goes, it's go ahead.
Like with this cover, I thought the villain, he was too small. I was like, Derek, I don't like it. He looks too small. And Derek's like, but it works with the point of view. And I'm like, I don't know. He just looks so small compared to, but when it was done, it was like, okay, yeah, you're right.
Well, so we let our friend Brent, look at it, and he just goes, well, it's no team cover. And I just went, oh, and my heart just sank. I was like, are you kidding? Like, we already have the team cover. He goes, yeah, but you really need a team cover. And he just kept going at the team, even though he couldn't get it in his head that we already had that team cover done. And I was like, look, man, this is like killing me. So you don't think this is very good? And he goes, well, it's just not as cool as the team cover. And I just was like ready to hang up my hat, man. Like, I was ready to throw this in the trash and be done.
See, the back to the 5-year-old thing. It's like a Madonna, like Tom Cruise or
well,
something.
No, the truth is I love this cover. And when I didn't get the reaction out of somebody else, I was like, am I just way off base here? But then Kevin reassured me, because he goes, no, I really love it. And, Brent is on this team cover thing. And then we went and got it, inked and had it colored, and it just came back better than we could have imagined. So yeah, it took a little piece of my heart, but hey, it was awesome.
Crazy Man put that you don't let people read it. Like, I mean, Dijo Lima, he hasn't read it. Like, the colorist, he has no idea what her story's going to. So I mean, if that's what you mean, he's never.
He don't get a script. He just gets the pages.
I gave Dio a copy of the company man script, but with the language barrier and that, I couldn't say that he bothered to translate it into Portuguese and actually read through it. Like once he had the color references and the turnarounds and the pinups of the characters, I don't really think he really needed anything else. There's a couple of times like, okay, in the script, that dude's Arab, and you've colored him as Wall Street Wasp. So if you can tweak this is stuff like that, I suppose you got to look at the. Is it worth the effort of him reading the script and trying to understand it to get that right the first time, or is it easier for him to just tweak his own colors after the fact? He was happy to change whatever, so it wasn't a big deal.
I'm gonna just add something there. It is. I'm not disparaging Chemo at all, but his scripts are very unorthodox.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In how he puts them out, like there's barely. I don't want to say there's no structure. There is structure, but it's not structured in it. It's not structured in how a.
So is it like a notebook of a Unabomber? Is that how he writes? Like
exactly. Yeah. That's why it's so hard to find someone to work. I'd say they're more like a movie script. It's like you got the dialogue, people talking, and there'll be a little blurb says this character goes and does this character does that. But I don't tell you what angle, I don't tell you how many panels. I will roughly break it up into pages, but I'll also say if you need more or less, you can do that. I'm happy for you guys to have a look at a copy of one of my scripts if you're curious. I wouldn't say my way of doing things is a particularly good way of doing it. It's just what works for me.
It works for him, and it works out well because Company Men is, creme de la creme of comics.
Sure.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
Sure, man.
Yeah, like my the way
copy Chemo. I back that book and I'm ready for it.
My scripts are I use a program called CeltX, CELTX, and they've got a really interesting way that when you can select what type of script you want to write. So you could do a movie script or a TV script or a play or a comic book is one of the options, comic/graphic novel. And when you punch it in, it just looks like a regular script, right? Where it has the name and then the line and then description of what happens. But then when you transfer it to PDF, it puts it in this really interesting thing where it's split into two.
Looks like a grid.
The description is on the left and the dialogue is on the right.
Ooh, I like that.
And it looks really cool. And it's really useful, I think, for a artist or a writer to... because it puts everything in one place and then it kind of lines it, left brain and right brain. So, I mean, it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I like organization. Now, I mean, the way Murph and I are doing it works very well for us now, though. So I think we've got a good system as well. So I don't think I'll mess with that. I like, reading the script and then I'll thumbnail. Well, I'll thumbnail, and then as I thumbnail, I'll go into details with him and go, "Hey, did you mean this, or is this what you wanted?" And then I'll finish a thumbnail, and then we'll come together, and then we might even re-thumbnail the whole page if it doesn't, if it's not quite as exciting, or if we feel like it just needs to, I don't know, work better with something else. We change it as we go, and so that's what we mean when we come together and talk and hash it out. So. But I think that system's been awesome.
It works different for. Everyone's got their own way of doing things. Mine was mine just. I didn't intend for it to be the way it is. Originally I intended it for, just to be like a regular script,
Yeah.
But I think it works It works a lot better to have my things the way they are.
Sure, I'm very much a organic type of guy. I don't know if I could. I want to work with people and I want to be able to say, yeah, I can work with anybody. But to be honest, there's a lot of times where I'm like, would I be able to do well with somebody that just said, do this? I got to be able to have a little input, and I want to be able to have some give and take.
And if it's not somebody that you're very familiar with, and it's not somebody that you're very and if it's not somebody who you can, let's say, trust very well, you could not give them any instructions and they could half-ass it.
Right.
They could be like, oh, well, I don't have to do anything. I can just, he's not told me what to do. So I'm at liberty to do whatever. And I want to I want to get to my next job,
Sure.
I want to get this done so I can go take a cigarette, Yeah.
I should have done that to Murph. That's such a great idea. Why didn't I think of it? Damn.
Oh, don't worry. I'm changing everything up for the second book.
Yeah, I know you won't. There's no way in hell you'll do that. So anyway.
Yeah, right. If there's an app that'll change how I write it, I don't have to do anything different. It just messes you up.
So our pencils and inks are at 100%. our colors are probably just about 30% now, and then
I
we
think
have
over
letters
30.
to go. I don't know. We got 8 pages. That's about a third of the book done.
Yeah, but he's got 3 now.
So, yeah. So we'll have about 11 pages done soon. Then Eric Weathers will get the book to letter. We do have a stretch goal at $3,000. We want to hit this metal trading card by Phoenix. We're going to have Phoenix Animation make this. This picture, I don't know if it'll look good if I open it up in another screen, but I'm going to try. We'll see what happens. Nope. There it is. I don't know if it's big enough in that, is it? It's probably not any bigger than what it was. Yeah. So
can't you zoom in?
I don't know if I can. I'll try.
Control and
Scroll up.
Scroll, yeah.
Let's see. Hey, there we go. It's not coming in so good because the image is so small, but whatever. This is actually a very detailed pencil.
I can tell.
I drew it digitally, but it's and that's why I thought it would come off good as a metal trading card, because I want that pencil. And people were telling me to get it colored, but I think the pencil comes off better.
It looks really good. I could see
Yeah.
that embossed on a metal trading card, you know.
Yeah, I thought that would be a unique thing. And this is a future look at our hero mare. This is the armor that he'll get into in the future, probably in the next issue.
There's 2 pages where he's wearing at it in this comic.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. So you will see a glimpse of him. And but yeah, so we're hoping to get to 3,000 for this.
Crazy
then,
man, that is a great idea.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that myself. That was a really good idea. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. So much work to that though. You'd have to almost have somebody else doing it with you the whole time.
And it would have to be somebody that can commit to their project pretty much full time, you know, because if you've got a day job, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
it adds an extra layer of work onto the
No,
project.
but you could easily do an hour YouTube if you just had a camera of you doing like a session and seeing how.
Yeah. Thanks, Crazy Man. Yeah, so I would like to see somebody do that. I think it's great. I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff. We do want to move on to our next goal, which we did announce in the last stream. We're going to do a what would you call it? Kind of a
map and a blueprint of a kingdom and what's going on.
Blueprint's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good word. And we just want to thank everybody for supporting us so far. We actually
we've ordered physical to kind of show everybody the cards, so we're waiting for them to be done.
Yeah.
We'll probably make a special video for it.
Yeah, our book is real close, man. I can't wait. So we mainly have some coloring, lettering, and then printing, and that's the biggest thing we got to work on. So
who have you got lettering?
Eric Weathers will letter.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, we debated on that one. We almost went with somebody less known, but then we were like, well, he's available. Let's do it.
Yeah, Dean James lettered my book. So,
oh, did he?
Yeah,
nice.
Like he did the cover and he did the lettering. So
very cool.
His fingerprints are all over the project as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I lettered ours, and then I realized it could be better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think I could letter, but there's so much to learn, and it's a craft in and of itself.
Yeah, really is.
You know, I already inked. I was already drawing. You know, so I was just like, to take on another hat is just a little too much. So
yeah.
But yeah, we're really happy to be doing this. I'm excited for your book, man. Your book's looking good.
Thanks,
I can't
man.
wait till it's ready to launch. So we'll be looking out for that.
Yes.
Well, we've got 48 backers now, so we've got 2 people signed up.
Nice.
During the stream.
Cool.
So thank you everybody who has so far signed up. You're making a little boy's dream become a grown man's reality, and
that's awesome.
So we're nearly halfway there to 100, and once we get 100 signups, we'll be looking around to launch sometime in April. I'm estimating around Easter. I might make launching my little reward to myself I've taken on 4 things for Lent this year. So
okay.
So maybe that can be my reward, is to launch the comic.
Yeah, man. Where do you think you're going to launch? Do you know?
What do you mean where? Like in
what channel? What channel?
Stream.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
We got some idea.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good thing to shoot for. That's one thing that we thought of, and we were just like,
I thought you meant like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and I was
like, no.
Indiegogo, of course. Yeah,
yeah, right.
There's no other correct answer.
Yeah, for us, we were in that spot you're in. You're relatively unknown for a little while, and it took a long time for us to build relationships and get in chats.
Yeah.
So
It'll be seen.
That itself can be kind of exhausting as well. Like just being in a chat and possibly
I was doing it every day, man, and my wife was like, "Do you ever not get in this anymore?" And I was just like,
"You have to.
There's a reason
to do it." And I mean, it's not like I have any problem with sitting through a live stream and stuff, but sometimes
except Bancroft's, of course. I mean, that's he goes on a bit long. 5-10 minutes. Short show's a good show, Michael. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I got on there for like 5-10 minutes one time. Just he was talking about what is Comicsgate or something like that, and I got on, and that was really my introduction to getting on streams. Everything else I'd been lurking on,
I went on Bancroft. I went on Bancroft for about 5 minutes. In I want to say January.
Okay.
Yeah. He was doing a no shill stream though, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
My book.
I do remember that show.
Yeah.
So, mine was last year. It was like it was probably a year ago now, right, Murph? I think it was about a year ago.
It's like we're swapping war stories.
Honestly, it's hard.
Yeah, it is. I mean, well, it's just interesting because the growth we've had in that year has been tremendous, and it's been awesome. We've met a lot of great people. We've had a lot of great support. We met Kemosabe, we met people that have shown us a lot, given us a lot of input, and helped us along the way. So, I mean, it's been great. And so, you're doing it right. Yeah, you get out there.
Yeah, I'm trying, and I will.
Yeah, man.
I thank you very much for having me on.
We loved having you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Loved having Kemosabe back.
I'd love
anytime. I'm always down.
Oh, I need just to put my book over a bit even more. Chemo edited the thing, so
nice. Okay.
He's and he's editing the future books as well. So
very cool.
If you're a fan of Chemo's writing, he's got he's obviously been an influence on me.
We got him to give us some feedback on ours as well. So. And
wasn't a lot to say, guys. Your script was really, really solid. I'm not saying you shouldn't have paid me, because you did, and I'm glad you did. But sometimes I get feedback, and I'm like, look, you've just paid me to tell you that it's good. There's a couple of scripts. Star Circuit was very similar. I edited Star Circuit. There's very little I needed to add. A couple of dialogue tweaks. I said, and this is my opinion. Tweak this, tweak that, tweak that. But essentially, you got a really solid story there. So Joe, Catapano's just basically paid me to tell him that his story's good. I'm happy to take that money. Then other people, they might get pages of feedback off me, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done.
Right. Well, I mean,
you don't need to say us with the script. Derek does nothing for the script, so
that's true. That's true. Hashtag just an artist. Yeah.
Just an artist.
It's a lifestyle. I mean, there.
If you only knew what I did for the script, if you only knew. Shit. See, he's laughing because he knows.
CJ's Odd Couple. I'm gonna get you guys doing some outrageous back and forward. I'm gonna put the Odd Couple theme over the top of it. It's so good.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah. So it's so good. We've been having a good time, but Chemo, I think we're probably gonna want you to do some more with us. I mean, that's not
Happy to, brother.
hopefully it's not the last time. So,
and if anybody out there is interested, I am also offering writing and editing services if they are
Nice.
if they appeal to anybody.
very
And
cool.
I'll just like Aardvark's one of my go-tos. If I finish a script, I turn and I drop it to him basically straight away and say, "Hey man, tell me what you think about this."
Okay.
And like, I suppose it's fair to say, like you and I, we sort of go back and forward, and it's all sort of gratis because we're mates, and we've never sort of charged each other money for sort of stuff over the years. So anybody who's hitting you up, I suppose, would be expecting to pay you for your advice. But I will say, he keeps me on my toes. So if you're someone who, if you want,
Nice.
you know, it's straight and real and not harsh but honest, like hit up Aardvark and he'll definitely give you some good feedback. Or pay me either, whatever.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
But-
guys.
Why not both?
That's right. 2 for 1 double teaming. No, wait. I'll just real quickly say that out of all my reviews that I've done over 100 indie book reviews over the last 2 years, and every single time I've criticized a book, constructive criticism, the problem has been lack of editorial. Like lack of editorial is the biggest problem. If you do not have, just at least get a beta reader. Just get someone who's not your friend, who's not invested, who is still part of the comic sphere. Just hit up some guy that you're familiar with, friendly with. Someone like Crazy Mad, for example. I'd feel comfortable sending Crazy Mad one of my scripts to get some feedback from him. I wouldn't ask him to edit my work because I don't really have editors.
Sure.
But I would be happy to get beta reader feedback off him, you know. So he's somebody whose expertise and love of comics I would fall back on to know that I've made a solid effort. You know,
people read, people watch movies in a different way than, you know, you get people who watch a movie or read a comic book in this instance, and they watch it, they do it with a very kind of critical, kind of technical lens. And then you get people who, you know, they pick it up and it's solely how much they enjoyed it. You know, they don't really, they might not care so much if the artist, if like a character's not holding an object in one panel and then in the next panel he's not holding it. Like they might not notice that. They might just overall enjoy the entire story. So
get both perspectives.
It's good to get a range of perspectives as well. Yeah.
Like Aardvark and I might give you the first perspective, the second perspective, that's sort of very critical. This is what you got right, this is what you got wrong. And then get it someone like Crazy Mad, someone who's a fan who can read the whole thing and say, this is what I like, this is what I didn't, and come at it from a more enjoyment perspective.
I think for me and you, though, there are like differences in how we approach things as well, because often you have you've watched like all these like old TV shows and stuff like that I've never seen or even heard of, you know, and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is kind of like that episode of Magnum PI. I'll be like,
I love Magnum PI.
Never seen it in my entire life.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, okay. So I just want to get a couple things off my chest here. Got to tell you about my live stream coming up this weekend, Saturday. It's going to be Ugly Tongue live. That's my band. So we're going to be playing at 5 p.m. Eastern time. For those of you that need to know what time it'll be, I'll be putting links out on Twitter. And you can follow Ugly Tongue at Ugly Tongue 1 on Twitter. And so check it out. It'll be some new music, probably some stuff you've never heard before, and a lot of stuff you've never heard before because we mainly play originals, and getting excited for that. So that was one of the promos I played at the beginning of the video. Just so
it sounded good, man.
Thank you. Well, that was kind of a slowed down version of one of the songs. So it wasn't quite the real deal, but it's still kind of cool. And then, check out Aquila. I almost said Aquila again. Chemo's got me changed now, so I don't know which way to say it, but whichever way you say it, check it out and sign up for the book. So we'll be excited and watch out for you, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Like and subscribe.
Yes.
There you go, Murph. You got it this time.
There, now you're on time. Woohoo! All right, guys. We'll see you later. I'm going to pull us out, and we're going to end with our little outro here. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Murph and Dirk and Dirk and Murph and Murph and Dirk and Dirk.